Welcome to part two of our weekly test show here. Well, that lecture took a long time, but something came up midway, and well, there's no other way to say it. So, did Blacksburg ever do their test, or did I forget to add them in? I must have forgot about Blacksburg, didn't I? Let me check WJON because I know he might. I know he got it. Interesting. Blacksburg never did their test. Okay. Very well, because I remember I put WXL 60 in here at some point, but I guess it looks like I didn't. All right. Well, our time really got cut short here, so we only have about 20 minutes before we start Deal or No Deal. Now, because of how long the goddamn lecture took, at this point, I'm going to pass on the perfect line tonight, and I am going to take care of it first thing tomorrow morning. First thing. I'm going to take care of it first thing tomorrow morning before I do whatever else. But good thing I prepared for that possibility ahead of time. All right. So at this point, since I'm not even going to go after popcorn because of how much time I have lost from how long the lecture took, I'm going to let you all continue to enjoy. I'm going to let you all once again enjoy the talking news madness from the final bits of part one. So we'll do a little bit of a repeat of that while I brush up for the night and everything else like that, and then we will get to the word game. Alright, that's enough of talking animals trying to repeat Seto Kaiba.
Talking animals trying to repeat Seto Kaiba.
I don't know what's been on my mind lately. I just don't know. Because time is limited, and that lecture ate away a lot of our time. Alright, so we are going to go ahead and we're going to jump straight to the word game. And just by looking at it, at the time, I do not think we are going to have enough time to even do the scavenger hunt this week. So I do apologize. I'm not going to say anybody is at fault for how long this took. This damn lecture took. But something happened. Had to delay it. I could have been back here sooner. But as I've said previously, stuff happens. Yeah, as I've said before, stuff happens. That's better. Because I thought the Elkhart camera went down. Alright. I'll get the Windows 7 virtual machine ready here in the next few minutes. We'll see if Brandon's up for Deal or No Deal this evening. And yes, I do understand the second part is going to be a bit short, but again, I'm sorry that it has to be this way this week, but bear with us. Okay. So here are the letters once again from part 1. T, F, E, O, B, S, I, R, and T. So those are the letters. Now, let's see what kind of crazy words we can make with them. Let's see what kind of words we can make. I have a few ideas in mind already. Tryst. Let's see. Bosrit. Freoit. Tryst. Oh no, we already did that. How about BOSIRT? Beosert. FEOBTRIST. Feobtrist. How about OBRIST FET? Abristfet? Abristfet. Let's see how this says.
Obristfet.
Obristfet. Let's put it through this too.
Obristfet.
How about EFIST?
E-fist.
E-fist. Can I think of anything? How about TRF? SIBTEO.
Terfsipteo.
That's a good one. BRIST FE. Yeah, time's so limited. I don't really think I can think of any other. I don't think I can think of any other words we can try. All right. Well, you all want to know what happened during that pretty long lecture that I had to sit through? Well, I will be more than happy to answer that question. But first, why can't I pop that out? Because I had that darn functionality before. I had that darn functionality before. It seems like I've lost it for some reason. I don't know. That's odd. Well, whatever. But anyway, you want to know what I did during that long lecture? Well, first off, the lab was about the assignment for this week was about deployment services, and as a bonus, writing an unattended answer file. So cool, I could just tell it to skip the out-of-box experience thing and just go straight to logging me in for the first time. I can slipstream some programs in there as well. Then everything will be all ready for me. I mean, it was quite difficult to manage, but I could go through an unintended answer file and, with deployment service, so I could just put in the answer file and then deploy an image with it and whatnot. It's pretty neat. I haven't got to see deployment services in action in quite some time. So, that was one thing. The other thing was that during that entire lecture, I ended up doing some testing with OBS in terms of future upgrades to the WeatherScan network. So rather than just having this running on its own, I'll instead just have it run as a separate independent. I'll probably instead just have it run as a separate independent entity. Well, not really as an independent one, but rather bring back the info center concept and sort of turn it into the info center that I want it to be. One that shows the alert logs, one that shows the songs that are playing, and everything like that. So I want to try that out a little bit further tonight after we're done. But before I do that, I want to try out the restore of that Windows 11 image from my host PC before I go on installing a fresh copy of 11 Pro off of USB. So I could try it for myself. You know what? I think I'm better off just using the USB. I mean, I'm not going to gain too much out of it, so it's not going to matter. So I'll just go ahead and plug in the USB. And then it should tell me, I can tell it what edition I want to install, and then I can just go from there. Let's see. All right, let's power it on. And then I got to attach the flash drive. Got to attach it. Proceed booting. Okay, I found the USB. All right, that's not my copy of Windows 11. Oh, wait a minute. That's not my copy of 11. That was when I did Hiron's Boot CD. Darn it, I forgot. Darn it, I was so limited on time, I forgot to rewrite the darn USB. Crap. Alright. Where's, do I have a backup CD of 11 Pro somewhere on this thing? I don't think I do. I don't think I have a backup anywhere. I do have it on this drive, but it's 24H2 and not 25H2. But I think I'm better off than just grabbing the at this point I'm better off just grabbing the standard copy of Windows 11 Because, I mean, it is the latest one, so there wouldn't even really be a reason. So at this point, I'm just going to grab the latest version. So yeah, this'll get my this'll allow me to get it up and running as quickly as possible. So pretty much this will allow me to get it up and running as quickly as possible. All right, let me swap out the disk. Yeah, I'm not going to use 24H2 because, well, I mean, I prefer 25H2 because, I mean, that's the latest one. But, I mean, to me, it's not going to make that much of a difference. And even using the 24H2 disk that I already have, it's going to be outdated as heck, and it's going to take forever for the out-of-box to go through all the updates and everything. Maybe that could be a good time for me to, experiment with the answer file and, experiment with the unattended answer file so that I can just tell it to, input all the details in the out-of-box experience and just skip through all the screens and all that. And then I'll just have a fully set up copy of Windows 11. And then maybe I could also tell it to disable BitLocker, preventing that from being enabled. As I know a lot of people hate BitLocker so much. I mean, sort of as much as I do. So yeah. But as much as I'd like to try it on the, I could try it on that Windows 10 VM that I have, but I'd rather not. Because, of course, Windows 10 is no longer supported. I'm not enrolling that virtual machine in the ESU program. And the most important thing is that it's very likely that a lot of the software is probably not even going to work on Windows 10 anymore, now that Microsoft has pulled the plug. So pretty much my only option now is Windows 11. And I have a final machine, a machine with the final release on it. Well, I did, until I found out that I had not touched it in so long that I had forgotten the password to decrypting it. So I didn't even really use that virtual machine that much anyway, and it was outdated. So it's time that I finally get it updated. So, finally get it updated and then preserved for a whole new purpose. So I might want to get my hands on the January security patches before I go on installing it. Yeah, before I go doing any testing with it. All right, it is 10, and I see Brendan has an offline status. So I am not going to try and call him right now. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait another. I'll wait another 20 minutes, and we'll see if he. We'll see if he knows. We'll see if he gets the memo. If he does not, then we will, again, as I said, we'll skip straight to Yahtzee. Yeah, we're gonna go straight to Yahtzee. So, yeah, folks, I understand that this is going to be a bit of a shorter part than I thought it would be tonight. But unfortunately, as I just said, the lecture took a long damn time. All right. I don't think this is the correct disk, and I can't remove... crap, I can't remove it. So that means I got to remove the virtual machine and recreate it from scratch. So I can make a whole new one, and then I can just do the install disk. It says it doesn't know what operating system it is, but it is Windows 11. So I'll just call it Windows 11. Oh, and I got to tell it to save to my other drive. However, for some reason, the iDrive does not appear straight away in that Explorer window. So then I got to click VMs, and then I got to tell it save to Windows 11. Oh, I got to make that I lowercase. There we go. All right, so... Okay, hit change, and it didn't do anything. And then VMs. Okay, and then so this is going on that 2 terabyte drive instead of my main system. And good thing VMware has that remember the password thing checked by default, because I do not want to end up in a scenario again where, and no, I am not going by Windows 11's minimum requirements. Well, the minimum, because I'm going to go beyond that, so. I think 4 gigabytes is good enough, but if I need to add any more, I will add more if I need to. All right, so all that's left to do now is start the installation. So, I'm sure a lot of you are asking, what's the purpose of, me going through all this? What is the purpose? At this point, since Brandon is offline, I think he's busy with something. He's probably busy with something else tonight. So as a result, we're going to skip straight to Yahtzee, but I will wait another 25 minutes and we'll see if he does respond. And of course, we're going to reinstall Windows 11, skip the product key. Because when I installed it on the small form factor, it skipped that part because it had detected a license on the motherboard and had already matched the edition. I'm gonna do Pro so I don't have to go through that. Yeah, it's best that I install Pro because like I did with the small form factor, it would let me set up a local account without having to do the bypass NRO thing. So then I can just pick disk 0 and then it's off. Now that's a good thing about me having 32 gigabytes of RAM inside of my main PC, because I have more memory, so I can run. So I have more memory. So now I can allocate more RAM to some of my virtual machines. To ones especially like Windows 11, because this is this is the home edition of Windows that I have. This isn't Windows Pro, which has the option to install Windows Sandbox. So, because this is Windows Home, I'll have to utilize VMware. But the thing is with Sandbox, once I close it, everything is wiped clean, and it starts from a clean slate. So, I find that doing it in VMware is a better alternative. Now, while that's going, I did say about the failed Wi-Fi card upgrade for my small form factor PC. I was able to pitch the PCIe LAN card, wireless card. I was able to pitch that. So now we're just waiting for the right day to get it taken care of. So then when that's done, then of course, we'll be good to go. So essentially what I'm thinking is I'm going to be testing all this out, just taking the HDS2 that I still have on my main system, and then I will just reuse it in the upgrade. And I've actually written down URLs and everything for the enhancements, so that way I know which ones I want to do, and just copy over a few things just to test everything out, just to make sure everything works correctly before I roll it out to my small form factor to my Inspiron PC. So if all goes well, I could perform the enhancement on the WeatherScan network probably as soon as Friday, perhaps. Not Friday. Saturday. I could do it as early as Saturday. That is, if there's enough time. All right. Well, I see Brandon has an online status now, but I don't know if he's busy with anything tonight or. Let's see. So yeah, you missed out on Deal or No Deal for like 2 straight weeks. And this is this is actually the first week, so. So I guess he must have forgotten that it was he must have forgotten that tonight was Deal or No Deal night. So I don't know if he knows that we're waiting to start the game, but I did say at the very beginning of this part that I am limited on time because the lecture took so darn long. We had to scrap the eBay scavenger hunt tonight, but I don't think the scavenger hunt was going to be under my radar, considering what I was just into while I was away. So I can give these upgrades a try, and see what it's all see what this whole thing's all about. See what this whole upgrade thing is about. Yep. He had an online status, and then he had an offline status. Okay. So yeah, I think it's official. Brandon will not be able to join us for Deal or No Deal tonight. Because I'm pretty sure he has other stuff going on. So we'll just keep waiting, and we'll go from there. So as we're doing this here, let's go through a little bit of a summary of the first part of tonight's show for those who might have missed it. Yeah, for those of you who may have missed it. So, of course, in part one, we had heard the first 3 states of several that will be doing their annual Severe Weather Preparedness Week exercise. Georgia was the first one to do it and again, this is in Central Time at 8:30 this morning. That was the first state to do it, which takes the place of Peachtree City's weekly that would have normally happened at 10:30 a.m. Central. This also took the place of the Georgia portion of all the other offices: Columbia, Charleston, Greenville. Yeah, and Greenville, and that's it. Because Morristown and Birmingham and Huntsville do not serve Georgia. They don't issue anything for Georgia. Yeah, they don't do that. So then, of course, at 9 a.m. Central was when we had the statewide drill for Florida and Alabama. However, Alabama does not do a statewide drill, according to NWS Birmingham and their statement. So it was only NWS Birmingham that sent out a special test at 9 a.m. Central, and that was when it mentioned the statewide Severe Weather Awareness Week exercise. It didn't mention anything else. And I know this because when Mobile sent their test a few minutes later, it was the usual message. There wasn't anything interesting. There were no differences. There weren't any differences at all. So it was just the normal test message and nothing else. Huntsville, I assume it was going to be the same thing. However, Huntsville, for some reason, decided not to test today and postponed it. They didn't specify a reason why, but they just said the test was postponed to Thursday. We apologize for the inconvenience, and that's all they have to say. So, yeah, Huntsville is going to wait until tomorrow. So Huntsville will test tomorrow. So Huntsville is going to test tomorrow. At 11:30 a.m. I hope, unless they decide to go a few minutes earlier, or later, like they've done a few times. Speaking of which, Wilmington, Ohio, was actually the latest out of all of them, going at 12:39, or was it 33 Eastern Time? As I have it on my log here, let me take a look. Now let me go back. That's 1 p.m. Now we gotta go back a little bit more. 11:37 a.m. Central was when Wilmington, Ohio finally sent the weekly out. They were very late. So 11:17 a.m. was the time when Wilmington issued their test for this week. Raleigh was also late. They went at 11:03 Central. Grand Junction was late as well. They went at well after 1 p.m. Aberdeen was another one that was late. They went at quarter after 12 or about a quarter after 12 they went. But other than a few offices being pretty late, they all ended up doing their weekly otherwise, except for Huntsville. Now, because WMLS monitors a station that relays the Huntsville weekly, I'm going to let that go through my logger instead of WJON. So instead of KIH 57 like I usually have for Huntsville, Alabama. And then, of course, we did Wheel of Fortune. We did Big John's Wheel. We also did Monopoly, which actually ended up going way shorter than I anticipated. Well, of course it did. We managed to get the full hour in of Hyperbowl. And then what else did we do? And then I think that was it. And then, of course, we played around with the talking characters and everything. There was something else we did not go back on. There's a few more here while we're waiting for that to finish. Storm White got the Paducah evening test. Was this from earlier tonight, or I think that was something from yesterday. I'll have to look at the date. Texas Gulf Coast got the Fort Worth test on only one transmitter, but I can look at the date here on the TV scroll. Yeah, he's still got some stuff from yesterday to get up, so he's getting that taken care of. And then if I go over to my other CXP, got the Florida drill from both Tampa and Miami. We got the statewide drill from both of them. And what is this from 4 days ago? Windows Vista turned 19 years old. Windows Vista turned 19 on January 30th. That is something. So, classic install on a classic laptop. And then CXP got the usual 6 p.m. Tampa test with nothing different. And then FN got the Massachusetts and Albany monthly tests. All right, well, let's go through the setup here. This little virtual machine that I'll use to test out OBS. And I'll just use it for future testing of anything, because I'd rather do it. Let's see what else there is. There's that Amber Alert from Los Angeles. Some snow stuff. TDWX Penzance Lorington. Yeah, Mock Station. I see what he does. Some snow updates. CBS special presentation opening card. That was on the night they aired the Grammy Awards, which was on Sunday night. Northern Illinois did a test stream with OBS. But of course, I'll use the time to consider some other updates. So I see Storm Tracker is getting that shelf ready. Here's WENZ doing a weekly. Remembering the Dark Times. Well, it's nice that he kept going. And then this was Tampa Cox. Cox's automated test. But yeah, unfortunately, the Tuesday slot is now short of a station. As it's now officially short of a station because on Monday, 670 The Score finally made its way onto the FM dial. And for a few years, The Score could be also heard on FM at 104.3 HD2. And now it can be heard on both HD2 and HD1. So yeah, HD2, and now it can be heard fully on 104.3, which also ends the nearly 10-year run of 104.3 Jams, which actually used to run on that frequency. But when I watched the final moments of that station, I'm very disappointed. That was like a very unceremonious ending to a station that has been on the air for almost 10 years. A very unceremonious ending. Just after the last song, nothing. There was no goodbye. There was no goodbye. There were just no goodbyes, no shout outs, no nothing. It just went straight to the B96 simulcast that ran for a couple days, and then that's it. That was all that happened. And then, of course, 8:05 a.m. on Monday, The Score flipped to FM, and I found a few videos. One that captured the switch from the FM side, the other from the stream, which I ended up going back on earlier this morning. And yep, here's the part. I can just press set for work or school. And then sign-in options, and then domain. And then it'll give me the local account. So then I can just type. I'll leave it without a password, because why not? And then I'm just gonna turn all this stuff off, because this is a virtualized environment. I would adjust it accordingly for actual hardware. And I see 7P8WX just posted a short compilation of everything. What was Piedmont WX live for? I don't know what he was live for. It should be an updated ISO file, so I don't really expect any updates to come down. It should just sign me right in. Oh, here comes the updates. Construction in a construction lab, sawdust triggered one of the smoke detectors. And then there was Putnam County WX once again for the Florida drill. And of course, Yoshi Fan got Albany's weekly. And then there was the other Wilmington. Piedmont got the GSP test on there. And here it was Here was Jimmy getting the hour late Raleigh test. And there was something else I saw mounted. It's what looks to be... Oh, yes. I remember one of those things. One of those old self-checkout lights. The lights that say the lane's open, customer needs assistance, and the lane is closed. That's nice that he has one of those now. Mahoning County, of course, got Cleveland's weekly, which my logger did not take because Toledo was silent. There was Parker, Pennsylvania, the only Pittsburgh stream we were able to get their test off of. And I think that's it. And then this was the local area emergency from earlier today. This, let's see, what do we have here? At 5:55 p.m. I believe that's in Eastern time. So it was in Eastern time. So that was actually as we were just wrapping up part 1 of tonight's show. Okay, so... Alright, so with no response from Brandon, let's go on over now to Yahtzee. And yeah, we're going to do that while the Windows 11 VM finishes its download and install process. Oh yeah, I forgot I had the speaker. I had the speaker turned up so I could hear the startup sound when it reached the out-of-box experience. Yep, this has not changed because I have not taped another Yahtzee episode for it's going to be the first of 2 weeks where I won't be taping any Yahtzee episodes, which is interesting. Alright, here we go. Oh yes, I forgot everything reset. But, yeah, I forgot everything here reset. So I didn't carry over the settings, didn't I? So I gotta go over to, I gotta delete. Oh, yeah, I gotta delete both of these. I gotta set a new player. I gotta set everything back. I forgot. I was the flower, wasn't I, when I taped the episodes? Let me just make sure I got the details correct when I recorded all of them. Yeah, let me just take a check. Let's see. Jeslyn and the flower. Yep, I had that correct. I can get rid of the old player. Alright, let's see if I can... I'll turn show game hints off. There we go. Let's see what that does. Yeah, there was just that one little setting I forgot to turn off. And there we go. The game hints do not show up right out of the gate, so that's great. Yeah, I forgot to turn that setting off, but good thing I did. And I am glad I did. I'm glad I turned the game hints off, so now it's going to be a difficult time reshooting all the other episodes now that I noticed that those settings reset. But yes, I also can't forget about those Yu-Gi-Oh cards that I probably lost from the upgrade. Well, from the PCIe card going in, so I probably could have just cloned the virtual machine and carried it over, but I decided I did try my best, but yeah, it just wasn't working. So yeah, I'll try these upgrades out. I'll try these out tonight. Oh, I didn't. Oh, the desktop audio was already unmuted. But yeah, I'll try these. I'll try these out tonight, and I'll try these out tomorrow. Tomorrow night, following tomorrow following the recordings of Play 9. So, at this point now, pretty much I have my plans situated for tomorrow. And that is to watch The Perfect Line first thing, and then take care of one of my college exams and assignments, and then I can get to recording Play 9 episodes. So good thing I remembered to turn game hints off when I did, so. Because I surely do not want those interrupting another taping. I surely do not want another one of those. And let me put something into Audacity because I want to play around with it after we go off the air. Where is that? Here we go. Yeah, I'll play around with it after we're done. And then maybe I'll clear some more of my watch later too on another machine. Alright. So, let me go ahead and clear everything from tonight. While I wait for it to get back to me. Let's see, KPCC ended up testing. WYTT tested as well. I'm not seeing QBE's test come up, so... So, when was the last time QBE was logged? January 20th was the last time it was logged. They didn't test it all last week for some reason. So technically this is technically sort of strike 2 for them, because when it came to automated tests, I had when I was monitoring automated tests, I had the sort of the 3 strikes you're out thing. You know, where if they or if the automated test was not sent out for, a certain number of weeks, then I would remove the stream from my list, or just move it backwards on or just engrave it into the main monitors until, they end up doing anything. Now I'm thinking about adding WENZ from Cleveland as part of our regular rotation as well. I gotta see if I can find a good spot for it. Because I know Mahoning Valley usually gets it on a regular basis, so I feel like I want to, have my logger receive it on a regular basis as well. So that will be for next week. And then let me pull up the Thursday automated documents. Then add in everything for tonight. And the monthlies and stuff, I'll get to that in a second. Get to that now. So this is everything for the 4th. This is all going to be for tonight, the 5th. Because Alabama's supposed to do their monthly tonight. Well, I'm just guessing, but I hope I'm right. Yep, and I'm hoping I'm correct on that. So I've got everything else in there now. So I've got WKR, I've got Alaska ready, I've got KCRE for Del Norte. Of course, the thing is, I usually wait for WCKA to test, and then I pull all the monitors out, and then I just pull out all the monitors and put in tonight's stuff. So, the stuff we usually hear on Thursday night. The stuff the ones that usually go on Thursday nights. Alright, let's see how the thing is doing. Darn. I hate it when these when these free, post-install updates take a long time. Considering that was an updated ISO file directly, it probably might be installing the out-of-band stuff, but that I won't know for sure until the installation is actually done. So as soon as it's finished, that's when I will get to testing things out, just making sure it all works and everything. So let's go ahead and finish this game of Yahtzee, and then we will call it quits. And then we'll call it quits for tonight. Yeah, I do again apologize if this part was kind of short. But yeah, I think I've reiterated everything I needed to reiterate, so yeah, unfortunately, no deal or no deal this week. Because I think Brandon either Brandon forgot or he had other plans, or he had other things going on tonight, so. So as such, there is going to be no deal or no deal episode this week. But of course, you're still going to be able to get your daily dose of deal or no deal from our Meal or No Meal series, which is actually coming to an end. I can't believe how fast time has flown by. I mean, I have recorded all of the episodes of the show. When was that? December? When was it? December 2024? When I recorded the rest of them? As I remember, I did it with big numbers. I ended up recording the final episodes of both of those shows simultaneously. At least that's what I remember. I ended up recording those episodes. Together, and then that was it. So, actually, if I look at my, if I take a quick look, I can see, as it'll tell me the exact date. Not when it was published, but when I uploaded it and then prepped it for publishing. Oh, inbound Metra. Well, I can take a good look. That's not it. So it was so I was right. So it was December 2024. So I was right. It was December 2024 when I had completed the series. So yeah, it was December 2024 when I finished the series. And for the big numbers, it was around the same time, because I think I remember I was uploading. I think I remember I was uploading both shows together. Well, not at the same time, but just within two separate time points, just within two separate periods of time. So yeah. So yeah, from when I got those ready in December of 2024. we're now just weeks away now from its official conclusion. In fact, episode 375, which will come out this Friday. Yeah, it'll come out on Friday. Yeah, and then I'm also thinking about moving the info center completely over to its own independent sector, replacing the weather scan altogether, and then the mainstream can just run all original programming all the time. Except the info center will still be ran on Fridays and Saturdays while I'm away. So I see TFM tried to make his own version of a weather radio screen. Well, I can say, good try there, TFM. Good try. Good try. Alright. So let's go ahead and finish Yahtzee up, and then we will be out of here. That's the last turn. Alright. Wow, Indio, California managed to hit almost 90 degrees. Darn. Alright, so now I can go ahead and power off Windows 7. And I see finally the 11 virtual machine has reached the installing phase. I filmed an RWT in the school car. All right. So, with that, with the conclusion of Yahtzee and everything else I want to get to tonight, that is going to wrap up our show here for this evening. So, of course, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us here tonight. Well, first, I got to thank Tom and Ben for, of course, being great members of our show. Of course, we love having them with us, as we usually do when we do these weekly test shows. So we hope to see them again at some point soon. Next week, perhaps. Yeah, we'll see them next week. We most certainly will. And then, of course, we got to give thanks to each and every single one of our special guests who have joined us throughout the course of the day today. Of course, Brian was with us. Dimitri was briefly with us. Andrew Durok was with us. I think those were the only ones who were with us today. Which, I mean, I'm not surprised. Unfortunately, Brandon couldn't be with us tonight, so no deal or no deal episode, as I said, this week. And again, I do apologize for how short this second part was. It was because the lecture took a long damn time, which pretty much eliminated any hope of doing the scavenger hunt. But considering what I was after during that lecture anyway, it was pretty much inevitable at that point. So because when we ended part one, I didn't know what I was going to get into, and then here we are. Now I want to see what kind of improvements I can make to this source. One where it won't interfere with, where this thing will not interfere with, so that way I don't have to keep going over and hitting start again over and over again. It's very repetitive and at the same time annoying. I do not want to have to go over and keep doing that. So in some way, this is sort of gonna, end these problems sort of once and for all. But at the same time, I think it's time for this thing to get a revamp because it's been like this since we launched it a few years, since we redesigned it, since we launched the redesign a few years ago. So I think it's time for a change. I personally think it's time for a change. So I'm looking forward to seeing what these changes are going to look like once I put them into effect. Okay. So let's see. I believe I finished talking about the upcoming upgrade for the Weather Scan Network before I was interrupted. So yeah, I think that's it at this point. So I'll sort of repeat what I was saying about what I've got coming up tomorrow. Oh, there's Minnesota's monthly. Wisconsin's monthly is also tonight. So Wisconsin's monthly is also tonight. So yeah, North Dakota's supposed to go tonight. Who else is supposed to go tonight? Wisconsin, Alabama, Long Island. I mean, there's several of them. There's a lot of them that got to go this evening. That got to go tonight. So, let me go ahead and repeat everything for what I plan to accomplish tomorrow and for the rest of this week. I'm pretty sure my mother's going to be home again for another couple days. So, and because I really want Play 9 finished, we're gonna try recording the episodes. We're gonna try recording the episodes. We're gonna try recording the episodes. I mean, we'll kind of treat it as if she's not here. So we'll kind of treat it as if I was on my own on an average weekday. We'll kind of treat it like that. But of course, the plan still tomorrow is to take care of the perfect line. That'll be the first thing to see since I was not able to see it tonight. And I will then, that's when I will then take care of one of the one of the 2 other college assignments that I gotta take care of. Then play 9. I'll take more episodes of that. Attend the Thursday evening online meeting, whatever, and then well, yeah, and of course we'll get backyard baseball going at 5 p.m. Hoping that will finish in time, so that way then I can watch Scrabble and Trivial Pursuit both live, and then I'll take care of the perfect line later that night. And because I'll probably be home that night, I'm probably thinking I'll just go ahead and take care of Flipside, so then I can just get up first thing in the morning and then take care of Scrambled Up during my lunch break if everything goes well on Friday. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens when we get to that point. But of course, the plan still is for me to record the remaining episodes of Play 9. I did record an extra one, so let me check my times here. Nope, not that. I set it to 8 a.m. All right, I'm gonna change it to 8:30. And we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes tomorrow. So we'll see what that does. And then of course our fun night show on Friday as usual, and then of course the Saturday show, which should be normal, and then Sunday we'll see what happens there. I did find out that bird stream is not going to be happening on that Saturday night, so I guess that'll leave us with something, in preparation for the Super Bowl later and everything. So, with that being said, thanks again to all of our special guests for joining us here for this week's Weekly Test Wednesday show. Of course, this show would not be possible without them. And we hope to see you all back here once again tomorrow night at 5 p.m. for this week's edition of Backyard Baseball, which will once again be at its original time slot. So we hope you'll join us for that. But until then, I'm Mr. Planfold. This has been the Weekly Test Wednesday show. From all of us here at Playfield TV, we wish each and every single one of you a very pleasant good night.